Hi everyone, my name is Kyrsten. Today I'll be talking about disability discrimination. Discrimination is one of the major issues today in society. I have a condition called spondyloepiphyseal dysplasia congenita. It causes short stature and skeletal anomalies that mostly affect the spine and long bones of the legs and arms. When I was born, I had a cleft palate, which is a hole in the roof of the mouth. I had a hole in my heart. I had hydrocephalus, which is fluid between the brain and the skull. I had acid reflux. I had mildly inverted legs, making it extremely difficult to walk. I was constantly being put through CT scans for my heart and for my body. I've had multiple surgeries for a variety of reasons, but mostly for the structure of my legs. Not all of those surgeries were successful, especially for my legs, hence why I used the wheelchair. I had my first surgery when I was about 5 years old. It was to prevent my spine from pushing into my brain, so it was actually a life-saving surgery. I had 4 surgeries in total on my hips and knees. And every time that I had those surgeries, I had to relearn how to walk all over again. It took me about 5 years just to be able to get back on my feet again because of how many surgeries that I went through, and they were one after another. When I was 7, I received my first wheelchair, and that was a completely new experience for me. I had to learn how to get around places in a wheelchair, and I had to learn how to get around obstacles, and I had to alter my whole life. One of the biggest challenges that I faced was discrimination. I was constantly being stared at. I had eyes on me at all times, especially in a restaurant. Whenever I went to a restaurant, I could see people from other tables just staring at me because I was in a wheelchair at the table. I was constantly being told by others that I didn't need a wheelchair because I can stand and walk, but I can't walk as far as the normal person can. Just recently, I had one of the most life-changing events happen to me, and I faced a lot of discrimination because of it. On December 28th, 2023, my brother was born, and my mom faced a lot of discrimination from the hospital because they believed that she wouldn't be able to take care of my brother, and they believed that she wouldn't live through pregnancy. They were constantly doubting her that she would be able to take care of my brother. They told her that it would basically be impossible for her to keep up on all of his medical needs. After he was born, they harassed her every day for months because they wanted him to have a tracheostomy because of his collapsing airway. My mom didn't want them to go through with that because she didn't want to put any more stress or trauma on him when he had already been through so much already. They continued to harass her, even though she had told them that she didn't want to go through with it. Finally, after so much harassment, my mom allowed them to give him the trach so that he could breathe properly. They told her that without it, he wouldn't live for much longer, and they told her it would bring him home a lot sooner. After he recovered from the tracheostomy surgery, my mom was in the process of bringing him home, and during that process, she was harassed. She ended up going through 5 months of training just to learn about how to use all of his medical devices. And it wasn't until we got a social worker involved that they started to allow us to have him come home. A little while after he was home, we had found out that he sustained injuries while being at the hospital, which included brain damage and 4 broken ribs. And when we asked the hospital why that happened, we didn't really get a clear answer. They blamed it on his disability, which didn't make sense at all. And then finally, a few weeks later, they had admitted that the injuries were due to their care, but we never got answers on why this happened and who caused these injuries to him. He was home for about 2 months, and then he passed away. He was extremely healthy, other than the trach. That was his only issue, and we still don't have answers on why he passed away, and we're still fighting with the hospital, just trying to get answers out of them. And I would say that this is a great example on why discrimination can be so impactful and why it's important we keep this from further happening. Because I feel like if we hadn't faced so much discrimination, we would have been able to prevent all of this happening. So I am open to any questions that anyone has. I would like to say that no question is stupid or irrelevant to ask. Please don't be afraid to ask any questions. Yes.
What age were you when you got your first wheelchair?
My first wheelchair? I was 7. Yeah.
How was that for you in elementary school?
I was bullied a lot because of the wheelchair. I was called a lot of names, basically any name that you can think of. Because there was no bullying policy or anything like that at that time, I was constantly being pushed around in my chair, and people would shove me over and stuff. Yes.
Were there any teachers that like recognized your disability? Not in a bad way, but any teachers that like were recognizing it and like being nice to you and stuff?
It wasn't until my sophomore year, actually, that I had had teachers who actually stood up for me and helped me with my disability. So, yes.
Something you want to see more of, like here at school, that would help you feel more comfortable?
I would definitely like to see people be more, I guess, be less afraid of asking if a disabled person needs help. And I would also like to see people not ignore people with disabilities, because that's like one of the biggest things that I hate. If you're like curious or you're unsure of how to approach someone with a disability, our community is usually really understanding, and we will tell you like what we need and stuff. So.
Your sophomore year was the year that like teachers started to include you, and so what did that look like?
Well, first of all, whenever I pulled into the classroom, there was a desk, or there was a chair away from the desk, so I could easily get into my desk. Teachers would change around their whole like setup just for me to be able to participate in activities around the class that involved moving around the class and stuff. And yeah, just stuff like that. So, yeah.
what advice would you give to the like kids that are also disabled?
I would say that to definitely be more open about what you need. It definitely took me a very long time to let people know what I needed because I was ignored a lot. Just don't be afraid to ask for help, and just like if you have to tell someone that like they're not, what they're doing isn't right. It's better to let people know than to have to just keep that inside.
In what ways have you advocated for yourself?
I have taken every opportunity in my English classes and my history classes to write about disabled movements, and another one is doing these speeches. I think it's definitely helping. So I've definitely noticed a change after each speech that I do. People are more understanding, I feel like, and they're more willing to help. Yeah,
Do you ever feel underestimated?
a lot of the times, yes. I mean, it can really like be a mix between being underestimated and overestimated, just because disabilities aren't like they're not common knowledge, and so there are a wide variety of assumptions.
What's one thing that the students and staff in this room can do to better support you and other disabled people and to advocate for disability rights?
To be able to like advocate for disability rights, you can there's an office that you can reach out if you see inaccessibility. If you want to know more, ask questions. That's just like the biggest thing, because I see it on everyone that people are afraid to ask questions. The more you know, the more it helps make a better society. So. I have Instagram. It's just my first and last name. You can look me up on Instagram. I also have a Facebook. I do use Instagram a lot more, but you can reach me through those.